Good morning. I'm Pastor Holly Anderly, and I'd like to welcome you to the Sunday morning worship service on this Independence Day weekend. I hope you all have had an opportunity to socially, distantly enjoy some time together with family and with friends. This has been a very different Independence Day weekend, and I've spent a lot of time thinking about what freedom means for us. And so our reflection today is actually the beginning of a 4-part series on what freedom means to us. So I would invite you to sit back and relax and remember that this is a Communion Sunday. So if you haven't gotten your bread and your juice or your coffee and roll for communion, I would invite you to put the service on pause now and go and get that so that we can all join together in the Lord's Supper later on. Please join me now on our call to worship. Hear, all people, God calls us to obedience, to unconditional mercy, to unending grace and love everlasting. God calls us to a life of freedom in Him, living in peace and in justice with all humanity. So come humbly now before God to worship and bless our Creator, who redeems and sustains us all. You can hear the celebration is still going on in the background as I record. Our first scripture this morning comes from the prophet Micah, chapter 4, verses 1 through 4. And this is inspired by the last verse, which is actually a verse that George Washington used at the end of his term as president, when he stepped down after leading our country to become a new democracy. As he returned home to Mount Vernon, it was his wish that our country would reflect these values. In days to come, the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established as the highest of mountains, and shall be raised up above the hills. Peoples shall stream to it, and many nations shall come and say, "Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of God of Jacob, that He may teach us His ways, and that we may walk in His paths. For out of Zion shall go forth instruction, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. He shall judge between many peoples, and shall arbitrate between strong nations far away. They shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. But they shall all sit under their own vines and under their own fig trees, and no one shall make them afraid, for the mouth of the Lord of hosts has spoken. Amen.